Hello, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to GDSC's Journey to Front-End Development, a starting guide. Today, I'll be joined with our partners, Bukit Vista, their very own CTO, Bayu Stiawan, and my co-presenter, Jessica C. Jessie, you're muted. Jessie, yeah, I think you're muted, Jess.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, Philip. Hey, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I'll be your co-host for today's session. Firstly, we'd like to thank Bukit Vista for collaborating with us to create this epic event. Bukit Vista is Bali's leading property management company, providing short-term rental villas, homes, guest houses, and other accommodations to simplify the lives of property owners and enhance the careers of hospitality workers worldwide.
Also, just a reminder, we're going to be having a Kahoot after this, all about front-end technologies and stuff. So we want you guys to pay very close attention to whatever Bayu has to say. And if the top 3 winners for the Kahoot will get their very own GDSC keychain, as our advisor Jason is showing off. You have the top 3 winners will win that. So pay attention, guys.
Ooh, it looks like something to look forward to. And also another gentle reminder that the attendance form will be shared at the end of this session. So make sure you stay for the SAT points. Without further ado, let's hand over the floor to Sir Bayu Stiawan, the CTO of Bukit Vista, to deliver the materials for today. Sir Bayu, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Jessica and Philip. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bayu. Let me share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. So let me see. Okay, let me test that and make sure that we are fine here. Okay, so this is a picture of me and also with the background of a temple in Bedugul, Bali. So if you have visited Bali, you should visit this place as well. This is amazing. There's a lake, there's mountains, and there's also a temple in the middle of it. Okay, so for this session, I'd like to create a more lightweight and active conversation in this session. So basically, you can talk to each other on the chat. If you want to ask something, you need a link, or someone have actually want to share a link of their knowledge and to the others. You can also share that on the chat box here in Zoom. And by the end of the session, I will also give link to everything that I share here, my slide, my notes as well. So you can have a look at that later. So we can just focus on doing the discussion or learning basically on this session. Okay, first before I started to the essence of this meeting, so let me introduce you my company, right? Bukit Vista. So Bukit Vista have the big mission of inspire delight. What does that mean? We want to bring hospitality to everyone, not just the guests that book and pay, but also for the employee and also for our partners that most of them are property owners and then service providers, staff, house staff, the person that cleaning the room for guests. We want to delight everyone in our community of the company, right? And this session is no different. In this session, we want to inspire young talent to innovate using technical skills to solve real-world problems. You can work in Bukit Vista or on other company, but the important thing is you innovate and using your technical skill to inspire delight to others. Inspire speakers also to share their most authentic moments with the next generation. We are not only talking as a speaker in Bukit Vista, we also invite other speakers as well. And also, of course, we want to inspire students to do internship at Bukit Vista. Delight, we want to invite industry experts at leading companies. We also want to learn from them. And then we want to have a live QA. You can engage in this live session. You can ask questions, or you can share your knowledge as well. You can comment on anything. So make the session more live. And then the moderator will try to help with the interactivity of this discussion. So join us also for the post meeting. Usually we have a huddle. So sometimes with the host, with the speakers to get to know each other. Okay, this is me. A little bit introduction. So I'm currently CTO at Bukit Vista. So my job is basically if there's anything that can be made easier and perform better using technology, I will do it. So that's my only job in the company. And where I studied before, I studied music. Okay, I see a lot of you actually studied computer science, right? So I'm studying music, but how come, right? So we will talk about that later. Where I worked before, also not related to this field. I worked at an event organizer company, some in set production, and then Raja Wali Indonesia. If you like to watch music concert, there's a high possibility that I also arrange or organize the event. And also I work at a radio station before. That is a different field than what we are going to talk about today. But I will also explain about that why. So fun fact, I play classical piano because I studied music, of course, and both I also code. So both of them I play the keyboard. So that meant to be funny, but I don't know. I'm not a funny guy, so okay. Let's continue with the next one. Okay, so why am I speaking here? So the first one is because I'm a CTO, right? So the most important thing is that I have a broader context beyond technical. So I'm not only doing programming, but I also think about the business in the company, and then I can consider other things other than technology to implement in the company. In fact, that we are a hospitality company that uses technology. And the second one is what kind of talent that I'd like to hire for my team as a CTO. As a developer, I will want to share my learning experience and also some mistakes and failures. So you don't need to repeat that. Just me, it's enough. What we are going to talk about today. So today we are going to understand the web development career opportunity. What to learn, what skills are in high demand right now, and we're going to exercise as well to prepare your skill set to pursue your career. And what we are not going to talk today is the coding for each language. I'm going to talk about some languages, but we are not going to code that, probably some small examples. Also, we're not going to do in-depth technical practice. This is more about for your career development. Okay, how to get the most out of this talk. So I will share, I will give a topic of terms to search for you to learn more in depth. So you can search, just Google it. I believe almost all of the knowledge are out there actually. So you can share it, Google it just yourself. I will also share some links to this presentation and also my notes where you can ask questions even after this session has been ended. You can ask question and vote for question on the link that will be shared. I believe our friends here will give you the link on the chat on Slido, right? So you can ask question and you can upvote for each question that you want to support. And I will occasionally ask for feedback. You can respond in the chat box as well. Okay. Okay, let's start then. First thing first, what we need to talk about is, of course, this one. What is front-end development? So this, I'm going to show it as an analogy here. There are two rows here. So the first one is a restaurant. The second one is software development, right? So both are having the similar stack. So we can take an example for this. So basically, in a restaurant, you have a customer, you have someone who get your order, the customer's order, and then also you have someone who cook the meals or the orders that the customer wants, and there's someone who provide the ingredients for the staff to cook, right? This is very similar in software development as well. You have customers. Let's say someone who let's talk about website, right? So there's someone who visit your website, and then that customer requests something, right? They order something. Hey, I want to see this page. I want to see the home page, right? So front end is basically that menu, right? Or that anything that's served in that home page, like a button, image, or text. So that before we can display it to the user, we need to request that, because that's definitely not in the user's computer. We need to get that from somewhere, from the server probably. So the front end would then request that to the back end or server, right? Hey, server, please, the user wants to see this image. Please serve me this image. Okay, the server will request the ingredients to the database. Hey, database, give me the image of this thing because the user wants it. And then the database will give that to the server. The server get send that to the front end, and then the front end will display it to the customer. So that is probably the easiest explanation of what is front end development. And that's basically why what you're going to do as a front-end developer. You're going to develop this site, the site where you connect the server side to the customers. So you make a user interface. Now, when you're trying to look for a job, for a development job, developer job, or a programming job, you might see some like job offer that requires you to be like a front-end developer, right, or back-end developer. That's what this really means. Basically, you are going to work on which part of the surface of the product that you're building. And sometimes there's some companies as well that requires you to be a full-stack developer. So full-stack developer just means like this, basically. So you are one person, you have customer, you meet the customer, you cook it, you purchase the ingredients, and you also serve it back to the customer. So this is full stack development means, basically. Let's see what's next. Okay, so talk about the web application. So the most common understanding of front-end development is that it will be implemented in web technologies. So it can be accessed through web or web browser, right? So basically, app like Canva, for example, the one that I used to create this presentation is a web app. I do that. I use it on the web browser. So this is one of the work of the front-end developers, right? And then I usually, when want to understand something, how it works, I usually use deductive reasoning. So I analyze from the end result and then dissect that different part to understand how it's actually constructed. So what I did, or at least what you can do as well, is if you are opening a web browser right now, you can just use this combination on the keyboard. It's Option Command J, or you can just right click and inspect, right? So let's have a look at that. So if you're inspecting a web browser, what you will see is this tool, right? This is called developer tools in the browser. Mozilla have this, Google Chrome have this. So what you can do with this is there are multiple tabs here that you can inspect basically. So there's the first tab is elements. This is basically shows you the code that is rendered by the browser into HTML. This is an HTML language syntax. This is displayed regardless of what language you use to develop the web app. So HTML is the standard for a web browser, basically. Then you can see the structure of each element in the page alongside with the CSS style that accompanies these HTML files. If you are just started learning front-end development with HTML, this tool is the first thing you should use to inspect your rendered code. And if you go to the next tab here, you will see console, right? So this is basically for you that if you just started learning JavaScript, for example, you will use this tab a lot. This tab will help you to view the log message from the script, usually used to debug errors or to see an output of a function. You will see this tab. And then you can use it also to run JavaScript in the console to interact with the current page you are inspecting. So that's what the console is about. And the next tab is sources. So this is basically the files that the source of the files that you have developed in order to display the website that you have developed, or in this case the Canva web app, right? This is not Canva. I think this is Trello, right? Okay, so you can use this as a spontaneous code editor to see how your code works directly in the browser. Like for example, this is I'm opening an image, so I know what an image looks like, or I'm going to be able to see text if I click on the text file there. So you can also use it for debugging. You can set up breakpoints and then start or pause the debugger basically. The next tab this is my favorite part. This is relating to the backend, right? So network. Network is basically any communication that happens between the browser and the server. So if you're requesting an image, it will show here. You can see here there's a JavaScript, CSS, image. Anything that you request from the server into the browser is basically displayed here. So this one, the one that I highlight, is an API call to the Trello backend, right? And the backend server returns with this data, structured data that you can use to display in your front end. So basically, this is very useful if you're developing a web app that uses backend service. Right. Okay. Let me remind you again that you can ask question, or I think do we have the Slido here just to make sure? Okay, Jessica, do we have the Slido link sent already?
Yes, it's already in the chat box.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll let you know if there are any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jessica. Okay, you can just write this down there, guys, if you want to ask any question. Okay, let's continue. So this is a web app, right? This is front end. You're developing front end. You are front end developer. So you are developing for website or web app. But is that it? Is that the only thing you can do as a front end developer? It's not actually, especially nowadays, it's not only limited to web technologies. You can also apply the same technologies for multiple platform development. For example, this one, basically there's a framework like Flutter or React Native that allows you to develop front end with existing knowledge, then deploy it to non-web environment, like for example, native mobile app or even a desktop app. So there's also an opportunity to do that as well. In fact, there's a lot of software right now, desktop software that's built using Flutter. Flutter uses like Dart language, and also React Native, which is using JavaScript. So that's the possibility there for front-end development. Okay, let's dig deeper into the web app front-end development. So let's talk about the programming languages that's used, and then there's a framework and libraries, and there's also development approach and best practices, and also compiling and deployment for production after you develop the web app. Okay, programming language. What is used, right? So basically, why we need to learn about these programming languages if we can just develop a web app using Squarespace or Wix. So that's different, right? This is a development. This is not using a platform. So the most common programming languages that's used in front-end web development. Let's I think you are a computer science student, right? You should know about this already. This is pretty simple, so I'm not going to dig deeper into that. But basically, with HTML and CSS, you can do something like this right now without any JavaScript. You can create an animation. So basically, HTML is the basic of web development. It's designed to be displayed in web browser. And the CSS is the styling of those HTML document. So yeah, that's the basic of front-end programming language. That's it, done. Okay, but let's continue to the next one. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to see this kind of inspiration of what you can do with HTML and CSS only, or also with JavaScript, you can go to CodePen. It's codepen.io. So you can just Google it. There's a lot of people that actually making something and put it there. That could be a good inspiration for you. Okay, let's talk about the next language that we usually use to develop front end. It's mostly JavaScript, right? This is one of the most widely used programming language for the web. The syntax is like that. Basically, you define a variable. You can do like if else, if this, then this, else do this, right? Pretty standard. And also you can define a function, create a function that's called multiply. There's parameters, and then you define a variables and then return a result. So similar with any other development or programming language, right? So this is basically to add interactivity to your website. This usually happen in games or in the behavior responses when the buttons are pressed, or with the data entry on forms, dynamic styling, a lot of things. Basically, we can make the client side more interesting with JavaScript. And then also the variation is TypeScript. TypeScript is more popular these days, I guess. TypeScript is JavaScript, but with type definition, right? So basically, you need to define something first before you can compile. This is an example here. If we are using TypeScript, we create a variable called user. There's first name, last name, role. But if we try to use this variable, but wrong element, or basically this property does not exist in this variable, it will fail to compile. And this means that you need to fix this first before you can actually deploy your code. This is very useful just to make sure to avoid silly mistakes in like typo or like small mistakes, right? This is very silly. This can be used with frameworks or libraries like React, Vue, and other libraries as well. We will talk about that in a minute. And then let's have a look. Okay, so this is why we should learn JavaScript, right? Basically, we can create an interactivity like this. We can create a style with CSS, but to add interactivity to that, like look at this. When I move my mouse, basically the airplane here follows the mouse, right? So that follows the pointer. So this is done in JavaScript. So basically, if you want to create something like this, you can use JavaScript as one of the method to develop that. Okay, this is another language. JavaScript is not the only language for web development. There's another language. In fact, there's a lot of other language, right? Python or Ruby on Rails. So it can be used for web development, but I think it's less popular now in the industry, despite of the fact that it powers most of the most advanced web app actually. So one of the popular framework that used in Python is Django. Who uses that? Instagram, Spotify, Pinterest. That's pretty heavy usage. Probably Netflix as well. This is okay. This is what I understand. They are using this for their supporting tools, not the main interface, but like their dashboard or their settings, like some complicated functionality in their front end. There's also another one, I think. Let me see. Okay, so this is the difference basically for Ruby on Rails. It's a little bit different approach of developing web app. So basically, developing the front end on Rails is more like setting up Rails to generate CSS and JavaScript for the user, as opposed to actually writing it, right? In the beginning, we say that we write something in HTML and we serve it to the user, and that's it, right? But here it's a little bit more complicated. We need to manage the asset where we actually need to modify, and then we need to do a pre-compilation, and then we need to compile that, and then we display the HTML to the user. So this is a little bit different approach than the classical HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I put it here just to make sure that you also know that this exists somewhere out there. Okay, framework and libraries. These days, I don't think there's anyone that's developed like a web app from scratch with plain language, right? I mean, I suggest, I oppose that strongly. Basically, why? Because I think there's a lot of smart people there already built a very good solution to basic problem. So why don't we just use that? Why don't we just learn from them and try to use what they have built so far, and then we build on top of that. Okay, let's have a look what we have here. So this is the framework that we usually hear when we developing a front end app or a front end development, basically, right? The first one is we are going to talk about what framework or what libraries that we are going to use to develop this front end, right? And people will find this three most popular framework. There's Vue with V, and then also there's Angular, and then also React. So what's the difference? It's pretty much the same in terms of functionality or in terms of end goal, right? It makes the development easier. So you don't need to write everything from scratch, basically. So, okay, here are the differences. So all of them are open source. Basically, okay, let's have a look at the Vue one, right? Vue is open source, and then there's model view and view model. approach, and then it uses JavaScript, and Vue is splitting the HTML and logic differently, right? So it managed in different place basically. Angular is open source. It's maintained by Google, the Angular team at Google. It uses TypeScript, and this is also splitting HTML and logic. What is splitting HTML and logic? Let's go to React, right? So React is also open source. It's maintained by Meta or Facebook. JavaScript or TypeScript can be used in React. And this is interesting, combines HTML and logic using JSX. JSX, I think, like JavaScript in inside of the HTML, or HTML inside of JavaScript. This is pretty interesting. So if you want to look that up, basically try to search about JSX in React. That is the most popular framework and libraries that's out there for the development itself, for the JavaScript development. But there's also another framework for the style, right? Remember that we are also developing the style, or the what do you call it, the interface of the website. We usually use CSS. Then you can write a line by line CSS, like the width, the line, the color, background color, everything one line by line, right? So we have this frameworks for that as well. So you might hear about Bootstrap and also Tailwind. That's pretty popular frameworks out there. So basically, you don't need to write each line of style by yourself now. But yeah, but if you are still learning, I strongly suggest that you actually write down like a plain CSS by yourself if you are still learning, right? Just to understand the basic of CSS first. But if you're working on a project, you can use this framework. Like this is the example, right? Traditionally, you will write down every piece of style here. Like there's a border, there's a box, and then there's a grid, and then there's a button, also rounded here, and then the text, everything you need to write it down, right? But using this framework, you can just define a class name there, and then just call the component that you want to call, actually. Let me see, I think I have an example here. Okay, so this is how it's implemented in the browser. So creating this modal, right? Basically, we just need to define modal dialog centered, modal content, modal header. Every CSS is already defined by this framework. So this is how easy it is to use these CSS framework. So if you're working on front end, it will save your time a lot, basically. Okay, another thing, if you are developing front end, be familiar with package manager, right? npm yarn. Basically, you don't have to reinvent the wheel for things that you're going to make or that you want to display in your website. You can use existing packages to get the work done. Basically, most common functionality have been created before. So you just save your time, basically. I think I have an example here. Okay, so for example, this is pretty popular, right? Loading with these, I don't know what it's called. It's shimmer loading or something like that, right? You see some app implement this, and you want to also create something like this, right? Should you write the code line by line? Probably no. You can just go to npm and go npm install, I don't know, maybe React shimmer loading, something like that. So so that's it. You just need to implement it. You don't need to develop it from scratch. That's the smart way of doing the using the packages, existing packages into your project. Okay, that's it about the framework and libraries and language. So let's talk about the development approach. Let's have a look. What do we have here? Okay, so this is my personal approach to software development in general. Don't be surprised. I said this a lot actually, but I think I mean it. I'm serious about this. Be lazy, right? Why should you be lazy? People telling you to be not lazy, right? So, but I think I'm going to say it once more, right? So you need to be lazy in order to do two things: save your time now and save your time in the future. So especially in development, right? Write the most concise code in the smallest amount of time possible. If you can do it for 5 minutes, why spend 2 hours doing it, right? But there's a limit to that as well. You're not only doing it short and simple, but also you need to take care of the rest of this. Save your time in the future. Write code in small chunks and make it reusable. Also think about the possibility of future use of the same code. And then handle possible errors and label them properly. After that, write logical and easy to understand comments, variable names, and function name. Everything needs to make sense, right? So basically, to make sure that you have, basically you can avoid this meme, basically, right? Don't put yourself in this situation. Okay, let me stop right there and let me check my chat box. Yeah, just make sure that I didn't miss anything. Let me see. How can I do that actually? View, show chat. Okay, no comments for now, yeah. Okay, so that's a cool break. So this meme, you probably see this meme a lot, right, in Twitter if you are following about website development. So this is lack of control that we have as a software development. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we don't know the reason. So one of the reason why is probably this. I'm going back to the previous slide, right? So comments, variable names, and function name. You need to make sure that you will understand what that means in the future, at least for yourself. Even better if other people can also understand that as well. Okay, next one. This is the second approach that I usually apply for my development. So remove unnecessary dependencies. First is separating repositories between apps that serve different purposes. So if you have an API, crude API, or there's an automation, or there's a call to third party, we need to definitely separate that. That's back-end thing. For web apps, always separate repository if it will have its own domain or subdomain, right? If you're creating a website like example.com, I would suggest that if you create an app that is different than the website, I suggest that you put this in a different repository. For blog, for API, it should be separate repository. And then use trusted packages. Remember, we are using packages before, right? But use the trusted one, the one with active community. And even better, if you can contribute to the project itself, if it's open source, that will be very good for you and also the community, and also with the tool, right? Because it's keep well maintained. Okay, now it's the opposite of the one that I talk about with the packages. So reduce the use of third-party plugins or packages if possible. If it's a simple thing that you can still handle using without any packages, then why not do that, right? Use the packages wisely, because this will result in your size, file size, and then it will impact your end user as well. So that is the two takeaways that I learned so far while doing this. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's go to compiling and deploying for production. So this is a boring stuff, but I think this is important to learn. So we will go to this pretty quick. If you are doing front-end development and going to deploy it for production, you need to take note of this thing. You need to minify your code. You need to compress the file. You need to optimize the image. You use lazy loading for images or content. Basically, you just need to load the section that currently used by the user and load the remaining later when the user wants to access that. Host your app in the cloud, of course. Don't host it on your own computer. And then use CDN, basically a lot of servers that serve your website from different location. You can use services like AWS, CloudFront, Cloudflare, Fastly, a lot of providers that provide CDN service. Okay, that's it. That's about web app front-end development. So this last section is basically about the skill, right? This is the skill development for you if you want your career in front-end development. So let's talk about that. What skills you need to learn in front-end development? Okay, this image, anyone familiar with this image? The T-shaped scale composition. So as the name suggests, it looks like a T letter, right? So basically when you are working on your skill set to pursue your career, think about this. So you will have a broad scale that like you understand it, but not really, right? You know how to do that. You know why people do that or use that or what is it for. But yeah, it's good to know. But there's one skill that needs to be deep, right? Like in this case, you want to have really deep front-end skills. For example, you need deep understanding of HTML, deep understanding of CSS, or deep understanding of JavaScript, for example. So this is very important. Why? Because you will work with different people. In real world, you will work with a back-end programmer, for example. If you only know front-end, you don't know how back-end server are developed or created, right? You will have difficulties to understand them, to talk with the back-end developer. So why they are doing that, why they are not doing things like the way we want, right? This is very important in terms of teamwork. So please take a note of this. Or for your career development, we will have exercise at the end of this session as well. Okay, let's talk about the skills, technical skills, right? This is pretty simple for front-end development. JavaScript, of course, you need to be good at that. And CSS, you need to be good at that as well. It's interface, right? Your product needs to be interesting or at least good looking, right? And then the frameworks, the one that we talk about, React, Vue, Angular, Django, whatever. You need to at least good at one of them, right? That's what the employer wants to ask from you. What tools are you using, or what language are you using, basically? Okay, this is a survey from, I think someone created this survey, Ashley Nolan, right? I will send you the link, or you can actually just Google it, Ashley Nolan surveys of the most popular framework that's used. So from the survey, the first one is React, and then jQuery if you're still using jQuery, and then Lodash, Vue, Angular, Ember. But definitely you can see that React is widely used for the modern website development. So the choice is yours. Basically, do you want to be good at the framework that in high demand, and high supply. So React is high demand and high supply. Or you choose the one framework that's high demand but low supply. Let's say, I don't know, probably I never use something like Polymer or Meteor JS. I probably want to be good at that. Maybe there's some like niche that you want to to target for the front end job, basically. The next one is supporting technical skills. This is good to know. This is a plus point, right? So CSS pre-processor, that's kind of expected actually if you are developing using CSS. And then CMS, sometimes you are asked to create a blog, so you need to know at least one of them. WordPress is very popular. SEO, and then progressive web app, what is that? And then data formatting like JSON, XML, and then HTTP request and APIs or CLI, command line. And then web servers, you also need to know a little bit about that at least. Nginx and also Apache. You need to know about CDN and how that works. You need to know about SSL. You need to know about securing your servers, things like that. This is supporting, but technical skills, right? You remember the T shape, right? So you can build your skill in one deep set of skill, and then there's a broader skills that you don't really need to be expert on that, but you definitely need to know. This is the list basically. Let's see. Okay, the next one is non-technical skill, right? Skill that you need to have, but as a programmer, but it's not really technical. You probably don't need to learn about this in school, but probably school usually have a way to learn about this as well, like dancing, for example, right? After school, going to party, that's learning your skill for social or to dance. But the one thing that I highlight here is this one, right? So reading. As a front-end developer, your project will most likely start with a product requirement document, right? That contains like user stories, right? So you need to really good at reading. Reading means understanding, right? It's not just reading it, but understanding what actually the product owner wants, what the designer wants. So you need to be good at this. This is the most important step before you actually start coding. Because if you fail to understand what the user or the designer or the product owner require, then your code will be probably fail to solve the problem. Even if you are successfully developing them, you probably fail to give value to the user. So reading is pretty important. And then sense of visual design or UI, UX, right? So after you read the product requirement document, so the project manager will most probably give you wireframe or prototype. So basically, okay, this is I like this. So enjoying a good design is easy, but understanding the details in design requires skills and attention to detail, right? So you need to understand the differences in small things, like for example, between gray, light gray, dark gray, or something like animation, right? Between 500 milliseconds and 1000 milliseconds transition, if you're writing in CSS, what is the difference between them and how it affect the user experience? Or probably coloring the button, right? Should you color the button red or blue? Which one should be blue and which one should be red? Is it the yes should be blue or yes should be red? Or no should be blue or no should be red, right? So you need to understand that sense of visual design, basically. Okay, and there's also, this is a little bit technical, but like image manipulation using software like Photoshop. So during development, you most likely will find yourself trying to remove background for an image, right? Especially if you're working with like dark mode, light mode. So the image really, if the image have like white background, it's look ugly on the dark mode. So you need to work on that software as well, and the technique to achieve your goal with that. So altering the colors and then converting to PNG or SVG for logo, or crop and resizing for the website. You don't want your website to have image that like 5 megabytes in size, right? Even though it looks good, but the user will have difficulties accessing them. That's the UI UX. The next one is, this is also very important for me at least, empathy. Right? Since your product will be interacting directly with the end users, you need to take consideration of their limitation. So like this one, so consider the user's device screen size, internet connection speed, computing power, or user's behavior, like is it left-handed or right-handed, or colorblind, or vertical or horizontal orientation? Is it access using laptop or using phone? You need to have empathy for that kind of user, right? Even you haven't started the development, you need to think about that as well. How should you handle that in your code? Sometimes the designer already think about this, sometimes not. So you should be able to think about that before developing as well. Otherwise, you will have difficulties in the future if the user have problem using it, right? So okay, another thing like user demography. So elderly user prefer bigger text, more contrast color. So I think a while ago there's this thing, I think trending topics in Twitter, right, about the BCA mobile app. I think if you are in Indonesia and using like bank service, you might know that the BCA app is actually looking pretty ugly, right? It's very basic. The text is big, very contrasty, not like any modern app, right? But why? Why do they choose that? Why don't I don't think they will like don't have any money for development, right? They have all the money in in their pocket basically, right? But why did they choose that when developing the app for the user? Because they are thinking about this, because they have empathy for their user. Their user mostly probably more like senior people. They have problem with their side, so the font will be bold and then contrasty color, and then also the text also bigger size. So that's why empathy is important for front-end developer. Next one. Okay, this is the time for the exercise. Actually, that's this is the end of my presentation. So this is the exercise. This is only for you, so feel free to do it. There's no right or wrong in front end development. So okay, let's do this. Let's try to screenshot this. Let's see. Okay, this is an example actually. I'm going to clean this up actually. So this is an example. If you want to be good at front end, you probably have a deep knowledge about CSS, HTML, JavaScript, everything related to front end, right? But you also need a little bit knowledge about Figma, a little bit knowledge about API, probably a little bit knowledge about, I don't know, web hosting, something like that, or probably design or user testing, something like that. You will need that skill as well, right? So let me do this. Let me stop the presentation if I can, and then I will delete all of this. Oops. And I will present it again. So you can take a screenshot of this, or you can just write it down on your paper. It's pretty easy to write that down. And then you can start filling out what kind of skill that you want to learn in school, outside school, wherever you want to learn this skill from. Okay, is that done? Okay, we will, you can continue that after this session or on your own time. Okay, that's it basically. Thank you everyone for having me for this talk. I hope that you can learn something from me, and then probably you should be also learning from my mistakes in the past of how I learn as well. And if you still have any question, you can contact me on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn page, pretty old, but I'm still having the notification on for that. You can just message me there. Yeah, that's it. Back to Jessica and Philip.
Yeah, thank you, Bayu. That was a lot of very interesting insight that you talked about. I really like how you talked about the different ways you approach front-end development, such as, you know, working smarter, not harder, right? Being lazy is a good thing, stuff like that. Getting into the technicalities of it, like the different programming languages about it, I thought it was very, very interesting, and I hope the rest of the people in this Zoom also thought it was interesting.
Thank you, Philip.
Yeah. Also, I want to remind everybody, for those who also put in questions in the Slido, we'll be having a Q&A session later around the end of this seminar. So just watch out for when we're gonna answer your questions later.
Okay, next up we have Qalbiah to share with us some info on the internship for Bukit Vista. So Qalbiah, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you for your time. I'm going to share my screen as well. So after we have already heard Bayu presentation, I believe that most of you will be inspired, delighted by Bayu as well. So we want to share a good information or a good news to everyone here at GDSC Binus. So we are actually hiring right now for internship in Bukit Vista. And before that, I'm going to show you some of our intern testimony in Bukit Vista itself. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Okay, we can see it now.
Okay then. Okay, I think I have bad connection right now, so it's quite hard to play it.
You want me to help you with that, Bila?
Oh yeah, sure. Please do help.
Okay, I'll share it then. Okay, so I just click on play, yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone, my name is Victoria. I'm the digital marketing intern here in Bukit Vista.
Hello everyone, my name is Willis and I'm a data scientist intern in Bukit Vista.
Hi, my name is Erika and I'm one of the customer relation and reservation team at Bukit Vista.
Hi everyone, my name is Jocelin and I'm a marketing intern here in Bukit Vista.
Hi everyone, I'm Tandra and I'm a PR intern at Bukit Vista.
Hi, I'm Alia and I'm a business development intern at Bukit Vista.
Hi, my name is Rizky and I'm the current UI UX design intern for the product development team here at Bukit Vista.
take advantage of the remote working opportunity it provides. At that time, I felt that working with individuals from all around the world sounds like a pleasant experience, and I was right, especially this pandemic, because I've gotten to know my colleagues here from Bali, from Jogja, even the Philippines, and also the Russia.
Was because I fell in love with the work culture and atmosphere here. Everyone is an innovator. They have young entrepreneurial minds, just like myself. BV not only supports us as individuals, but fosters our creativity and our freedom to test and innovate things as much as we like within the workplace, allowing us to constantly innovate and inspiring delight.
It's because I've heard so many great things about interning here from the stories of my classmates, such as how we are being given real-life projects, and how the environment really supports you to grow as an intern, and how you're supposed to use English for your everyday tasks.
It's actually very fun and enjoyable to work in Bukit Vista. Secondly, you get to learn a lot through the projects that were given to you, and you get to explore wider stuff that you don't really touch in school.
It's definitely the remote working situation. As someone personally from Qatar, thousands of miles away from Indonesia, it's great to be able to still contribute to a meaningful way and maximize my potential and productivity from the comfort of my own home.
Even though I'm only an intern, I've never felt insignificant because everyone in this firm, from the executive, the chapter leads, and also the interns, has the equal role and also the opportunity to speak up and also share their thoughts.
The freedom of learning, the freedom of communicating with anyone. In my case, I do a lot of one-on-one meeting with my seniors, even with my CEO with the Bukit Vista CEO. For the manage my property page, it is a page for our property partner. From this project, my team gives me a full responsibility starting from the analysis, implementation until the iteration. I do it while collaborating with a lot of awesome people in the company, so I feel so proud and feel so thankful for this project.
The current project that I'm working on is a Facebook scraper where I have to identify the current market demands.
When I made guests happy and I can positively transform them.
We making a company guideline because it's a big project that I believe is very important for future visitors as well as the company in general, which is why it left a big impression for me.
And yeah, tips for intern is never settle to learn more, and also don't be afraid to fail.
You have to enjoy every moment that you have here. Make sure that you make the most of your time and to learn and grow, and also don't forget to have fun while you're at it.
Is that you really should embody the core values of Bukit Vista, because I feel like it really helps you develop more as a person and also as an intern here.
Please don't be afraid. People in the company will be more than happy to welcome you. They will always be happy to answer your questions. So don't be afraid to show your leadership, your ownership to your project, because this responsibility given to you will be a big opportunity for you to always explore your potential. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the video, like a little bit like a sneak peek to what we do in Bukit Vista as an intern. So we work together there, yeah. So maybe we can go to the next slide. I'll appreciate you guys if you can help to give us more feedback on what we've done today. Here's the link. I'll send it on the chat box. Maybe you can send your feedback of the topic and also material that was given by Kak Bayu today. And yeah, to the next slide. As I've told you before, we have a very good news for everyone because we are actually we are hiring for this position in Bukit Vista. So there is product owner intern, quality assurance intern, front-end developer intern, back-end developer, as well as UI UX designer intern. So if you guys interested to work with Kak Bayu as well as doing what Kak Bayu have explained today, you guys can go to this site that I've sent to the chat box, and then you can apply directly on one of these roles as well. So yeah, The last slide. If you guys still curious about Bukit Vista and what we do here, please feel free to open our LinkedIn profile here that I sent in the chat box as well. And yeah, see you guys. Thank you. Back to the host.
Oh my God, that sounds so epic to be able to have like an opportunity to do an internship. Next up, we have uh, uh, we'd like to remind everyone that any questions that you might have about the internship or the materials Bayu has presented, you can put it in the Slido link down below.
Also, by the way, if you guys are interested in the internship thing, you can also contact us at GDSC if you want, maybe our Instagram or something, and we can forward you directly to Bukit Vista if you'd like. So now we'll be going ahead with our Kahoot. So hopefully you guys paid attention. So yeah, we're gonna start right now. Josh, mind sharing your screen? Thank you.
Join the game, join the game.
Just a reminder to use your real names, by the way, guys.
There's also prizes at the end.
Hey, Josh, I think you're sharing with your voice, like the audio. Okay. Already we have 7 participants. Nice.
We'd also like to remind everyone to use their real names because there will be prizes at the end of the session for the top 3 winners.
By the way, guys, we'll be starting in 1 minute, by the way, so make sure you join. Alright, we'll just wait a bit in case some people want to join and they haven't gotten the opportunity yet.
Okay, so since we already have participants, let's start. Josh, can you please show the first question? First question, front end focuses more on APIs and servers, data analyzing, processing incoming website requests, or creating interface for the user. Oh, you guys are fast. We got 15 answers. The answer is creating interface for the user. Ooh, we have Brian on the top spot. Next up, we have true or false. Phil?
Oh yeah, front end development is limited to web technology. True or false? Which one is it, guys? If I'm being honest, I actually don't know the answer to this one. I'm not very good at. Oh, wow, 16 correct. That's ridiculous. People are talented, man.
Oh damn, that's like almost 100% correct, right?
Oh, Brian is still at the top. Wow, impressive. Now we can go next.
Which language is used to create responsive web design? Oh, you have to type your answers for this one. It looks like it's CSS or staging cell sheets. Next up, we have. Oh, Brian's on a streak. Next question.
Programming languages not usually used in front-end development. We have JavaScript, Python, Haskell, or TypeScript. Which one is it, guys? Hey, nice, Haskell. Yep. I mean, Bayu put in this presentation. So if you guys were paying attention, you'd probably get this one correct. All right, next question. Wow, Brian is still at the top. Holy, that's ridiculous. That's a lot. That's a talented person right there, Brian. Sheesh. All right, next question.
Optimized image file for browser is a JPEG, PNG, WebP, or JPG. I think in this case, optimized means like loading times are the slowest and fastest. Sorry. And the answer is WebP.
Oh, very balanced answers. 3, 5, 5, 5. Wow, that's crazy.
Damn.
Brian's still at the top. Wow. That's crazy, man. Holy. All right, next. Web page only loads the required contents only and loads the remaining when the user needs it. Lazy loading, compress, optimization, or minify. Which one is it, guys? Oh, lazy loading. Wow, a lot of people didn't get this one correct, actually. Like majority.
I don't think I will too if I join.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this front end development stuff, honestly. All right, we can go next.
Next up, let's see who's still at the top.
Oh, Vincent
Oh.
overtook Brian, and Def Philp on third place.
We have a new
Could be the
contender.
potential winners for the keychain.
Next up, we have multi-select. How to edit code in the browser. Oh my god. You can select more than one answer here. Could it be developer tools, elements? Oh, developer tools and then console, developer tools and its sources, or developers tools and then network. And it's developer tools and then go to elements or go to sources. Oh. Okay. Next up, let's see who's at the top. Oh, we have a new contender. Okay, next.
An example of removing unnecessary dependencies is to combine repositories between apps, although different purposes. True or false, guys? The Kahoot's music is such a banger, man. Oh, it's false, guys. That majority got it wrong. All right, next. Oh wow, Brian is taking it back. Second place, Vincent's third, and Jacques. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Sorry if I butchered your name. This is at the top. That's nice.
Next up, we have multi-select for double points. What counts as elimination in the minification process? Oh my god.
Double points, multiple answers, double what? No
Oh
way. If you get this right, you guys are champions. Ooh, the answers are coming in kind of slow. Ooh, it's all of them. Trick question. It's actually all of them, guys. Trick question. It's all of them.
Oh my god. Let's see who's in the lead. Oh.
Okay, so Brian is second, Furman and Jacques. When creating a product, user accessibility is top priority. True, maybe, false, HTML.
Oh my. This must be the hardest question of them all.
Most likely, yeah. These pesky project managers we have here at GDSC making these legendary questions. All right, here are the winners. We have Firman on third place. Congratulations, Melmi. Brian on second.
And
Hey, Jacques. I don't really know how to pronounce your name. Sorry if I butchered it again. Congratulations on taking first place, man.
congratulations to the top 3 winners. We'll be contacting you guys soon after this session for your prizes.
All right, now moving on, we're gonna have a little mini talk show with Bayu. Sorry, I mistook O and U. That's embarrassing. Yeah, we're gonna be asking you a few questions, Bayu, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. Philip, go ahead. Shoot.
First off, I kind of want to ask, what instruments can you play, Bayu?
What?
What instruments can you play?
Um, Piano. That's my major, but it's required to have two more instruments. So I have guitar and also a violin.
Ooh, okay. I actually have a piano, but I've never gone around to learning it. I could kind of play ukulele though, but I don't know. I'm not that good, I think.
Yeah, you can make it as a hobby, right? So you need to code for 2 hours and play guitar for 15 minutes. That's fair, right?
Yeah.
You just took the Asian stereotype of being able to play instruments to a whole nother level.
I'm not that kind of person though.
um, not only do you like play instruments, you also code, right? And you're also in the industry. So what are some challenges that you face as a front-end developer working in the industry? And would you like to share how you overcame them?
Okay. This is mostly this for. I think this also applies to other technologies as well, other fields in development as well. So the biggest challenge is new technologies. So like new technologies, there's a saying that JavaScript framework born every day, right? So that's very difficult to follow. So basically, it's seemingly to offer new solution to our existing problem, right? So that's very hard to follow. There's new approach, new language, new slightly different language. So companies and developers usually try to adopt the latest, newest, greatest technology. But I think for me, I stopped doing that. I stopped changing technologies just for the sake of technologies. I don't think that the technology itself will solve the problem. So basically, it's up to the developers themselves to improve their development approach actually on how to use the technology. I think there's a lot of proof that there are some great apps, great web apps, great website using like old technologies and still working fine. And that proves that it's not only the technology, it's how we use the technology.
Thank you for that very detailed answer, Kabayo. I'll keep that in mind one day when I, take up front-end development and stuff like that. I also want to ask you, how did you learn programming or like front-end development in the first place?
Okay. I assume this question is not not how, which book to follow or this, but so basically the fact is I never learned programming for the sake of programming itself. So I start with a problem that I face personally. It just happened to me that the solution is I need to learn programming. So yeah, I have a problem that I think the solution is programming. So that's why I learned. And so I think this also what get me into this position today. This approach helped me in becoming CTO because I'm not only thinking about the technology by itself. I always think why I should use this technology, or should I use technology, or what I problem that I solve if I'm doing this or using this technology. So that's the beginning. So let me see. I think I always do that. I always start with if let's say I never have any problem with technology or programming, then I would never learn, and that's still okay with me.
Oh, that sounds like an interesting mindset to like adopt, keep in mind. when developing or when learning to program or developing new technologies. Besides your IT or development work, do you have any other hobbies, and how do you manage your work-life balance?
Okay, okay. This is look like the common problem in development, yeah, in tech world, yeah. Okay, so I think for me is definitely just pick one hobby and treat it seriously, and give a dedicated time for this hobby project or activities, and consider it as your second job. I think that's how you can really separate between work and your personal life, right? So there's different ways to do that. I think the first one is this mentality is very difficult, and I always teach this to everyone in Bukit Vista. So you need to accept failures. You need to be okay with failures. A lot of people struggling having difficulties with basically accepting failures, right? They always want to say that I'm going to try, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to work on this more. But no, I think you should accept if you failed, then just say that you failed, right? So limit your bandwidth, limit your availability, basically. If you cannot finish a task in the time that you have designed for it, or in the timeline that you have assigned to that, then just declare your failure. I'm failed, right? And then what's more important is what you're going to do next. You can schedule another time to make it up, or you can just stop and say that this project is not worth the time, or you want to transfer this project to other people. I think that's really important. That's good for yourself, and also good for the team or the manager to understand your limit. And probably the second thing, this is still in the work environment, is to share your knowledge. I think by sharing like this, I believe that my knowledge is that I share today is pretty basic, but I think this is a really good time for me to share it with you, to think that some of you might learn from me. And also I'm letting people to know what I'm doing at work, and so yeah, get to teach you a little bit. This, if you're going to try to do this, you don't have to have like a webinar or something like that. Just like a pantry talk, right? You meet someone, you teach them something, people will like you, and even better, they can also teach you as well. So you meet someone from marketing, for example, right? You tell them what you do as programmer, then they will tell you what they do in marketing. So in Bukit Vista, we have this happy hour every week, right? So there's two sessions. There's entertainment and edutainment. So basically, entertainment is you just hang out, play something together. And edutainment, actually, one of us will teach others about anything that they know. It could be simple thing, could be complicated thing. The other day we talk about, I think the HR teach us about reading personality, right? So that's interesting, right? And then the previous week, one of the front-end developer share about how to use the browser to inspect the website and to modify the CSS or HTML thing. The other people, they don't know anything about programming, right? And they just like, what, how to do that? But it's fun, and it makes people get closer together. So that, I think we can enjoy the work, the life inside the work, and also separate your own personal life as well in your hobby.
All right. Thank you for that very lengthy and very interesting question. I also want to ask you another question. If you were to inspire like students about like front end development, like technically you're kind of doing it right now, but like if you had a recommendation or something, or you want to teach them something in particular, what would you want to like recommend and teach them?
If you want to be inspired or motivated, I think you should think about it this way. If you're using something, if you're using a tool or a website or a mobile app or anything like related to technology, there's high possibility that those are created by front-end developer. So that's basically your work. If you are a front-end developer, your work will be used directly by the user. So you will be the final link between anyone in your team, like back-end developer, database engineer, designer, and any other people in your team, to show them what the product is capable of. So for example, let's imagine if, let's say, what's some complicated thing like Instagram, right? There's a lot of engineer in Instagram. Imagine if they don't have good front-end developer team. Would we still be able to enjoy the Instagram app, right? Would it flow good, or would it be just basic? So that's how you make you touch other people's life, basically. You're realizing something from design, from technical perspective, into something that your user can actually use. So that's the life of a front-end developer.
Oh, that's such a good insight, Sir Bayu. Oh my god! Like putting yourself into the audiences, into the users' shoes, and all that. We also have questions from our audiences in Slido. So Philip, do you want to share the screen for Slido?
Oh yeah. Give me a second.
While you share, I'll just read out the first question. Yes, sir. What front technologies have you used before? Like
For me, personally, yeah. Personally, let me see. Let's go in the timeline. Actually, I think this is the one that I get, or that gets me to learn technology. So first technology that I encounter is called Icecast. It's a streaming server. It's SMTP streaming, networking, things like that, right? Maybe just a little bit background, right? So again, I never intended to change the industry, right? From what I'm doing into tech world, basically. I just found it. So that time I was looking for a way to reach more audience for my events, like music events or radio events. At that time, I think that's around 2008, 2009. There's not a lot of internet technology that actually can be used to stream live events. Like today, there's a lot of things like Clubhouse or even Spotify, YouTube can do that. So we don't have that kind of technology. So people are using internet for social media, but internet is still too slow for live streaming, basically, especially on mobile app or a mobile phone. So first, I discovered this open source project called Icecast, and created my own streaming by using this software. Basically, I'm using a PC in my student club in the uni that's connected to uni's wired internet network, because I don't have like fast internet, right? So, but the university have pretty fast internet connection. So at that time, I learned about audio encoding and decoding. how can we change like the audio file, audio stream that we get from the microphone to the mixer into the encoding, like MP3 or 4-bit or different type of encoding. And then also I learned about networking. How can I get that from my PC to the server that will serve to the end user? That's the first technology that I learned actually. And then after that, I need a web page that an easy address for people to stream that event, right? So, we cannot just send an IP number to people to listen to. So I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, very basic with Ajax. I think that the technology at that time, JavaScript, Ajax. And then learn about web server using MAMP that can be used for Apache, Nginx, basically to serve my static website that I host in the PC itself. And then I learned about routing that and then serving that through a domain name server. So that's the first initial technology that that I learned. For now, I think mostly I'm a React person, right? I'm using React.js. I'm not using React Native though. There's no particular reason, but for mobile development, we are using Flutter. That's dedicated for our Android and also iOS app. But for JavaScript, I'm exclusively using React. No reason. Using Next.js as a React framework as well. And yeah, that's exciting. I think it's really good. They are really good. It's compared to creating your own website from scratch and using this technology framework. It's very fast now. You can create a website that's ready to be accessed in 1 hour or 2 hours. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, very interesting questions, Sir Bayu. I mean, answers, Sir Bayu. I think like that's really interesting how you learn these technologies based on like problem solving, right? Like you learn this because you want to get better Wi-Fi and stuff like that. That's actually really cool. Here's another question: what technologies does Bukit Vista use?
Okay, I suppose
that question for
what is it?
Oh yeah, right. Oops, that's kind of in tandem with the other one, right? All right, let's answer this one. Hello, Sir Bayu. I want to ask: is it difficult from a front-end developer to become a full-stack developer? Thank you.
Let's see. I consider myself a full-stack developer. Actually, I'm not only working on front-end. In fact, I'm the full-stack developer. I deal with sysadmin thing as well, right? I think no. I don't think it would be difficult because at the end of the day, when you finish coding for your front-end project, you also need to continue that. You cannot just stop there and then let the code live in your own computer, right? You need to host it somewhere so people can access that. So you need to learn about server, command line probably, and then also domain management, things like that. I think when you are in that stage, learning how to deploy your code into a server, then you will know that, this is interesting. So I need to learn something else, like backend, for example. You probably need to split your code between front end and back end. So I think no, it won't be very difficult, especially if you have working in a team before and you have someone that work on back end. You will know how they work, or at least you know what their products look like. So you can learn how to produce that kind of product, like API, for example.
Oh, that's really cool, sir. For the following questions, we'll play a game, yes, sir. We'll do a really quick fire round where each question you have to answer within like 10 seconds, maybe.
Okay, that will be difficult. Okay.
So first question, Mr. Mr. Bayu, have you stayed in the Despacito loft by Bukit Vista? Oh my God, who asked this question?
Okay, that place is good. Yeah, I never actually. I stayed in the villa next door, but not in this one. But I like it. This one I usually work from there because it has nice pool and also nice restaurant, and usually very few people there because only 5 units there. So it's really good. I recommend anyone here that's come to Bali, just come to this place, Despacito Love by Bukit Vista. It's really good. It's like
Sounds like something to add to the itinerary for
yeah, yeah.
Bali.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Can beginners front end apply for an internship?
Yep, definitely. We don't really test for like technical skill. We are basically internship is not hiring, right? If it's full-time employee, yes, we will give you a serious task. Internship test is like this. Internship test is evaluating your progress during the trial. There will be a trial week, so there are 6 days. You can be 0 on the first day, but what we want is you should be not 0 in the day 6. So you will learn about things, different things. If you can learn, then okay, let's do internship. So that's basically what we ask for the interns is their motivation and also I think, yeah, capability of learning or whether you're willing to learn or not.
The one who asked must be like super happy. It's more about willingness to learn.
Please
Okay.
apply.
Are full stack developers more sought after than front or back end developers, even if less deeper knowledge?
I see the trend that it's decreasing for the required full stack developers. Why? I think companies are now more concerned about this. Basically, if they hire full stack developers, they can only expect like an okay product, but not really amazing product. So, and this also should be your consideration. Basically, if you're a full stack developer, you're not specialized in one particular skill, right? So I think you need to have at least, if you are trying to be full stack developer, at least follow up with one skills that you really want to be really deep. Remember the T-shaped skill set.
So specialization is like #1 basically. If you can like specialize in one skill in particular, then like more than likely you might get hired in like a big company.
Yeah,
basically. Okay. Next question. How do you maintain consistency in programming from start to finish, even when encountering laziness and dead ends?
Okay, this is a very real world question. It's very difficult. I still have the problem as well. It's mostly about motivation, right? Again, back to what you intend to do. Basically, if you intend to do the programming or learning about programming just for the sake of that, or because someone else asked you to do, you will stop in the middle. But if your goal is clear, you want to create a product that's encountering dead ends, but then your goal is not stopped, right? Your goal is still there, so you will try to find a way to finish your goal. You might switch language, for example, or switch frameworks, or learn about other things, but you still have your goal. Not the language barrier or technology barrier will not stop you. I think that's how I usually keep my motivation high.
All right, thank you for that answer. Here's another one. When is the deadline for internship application?
Oh, currently we don't have any deadline, right? So currently we have always open application. the schedule for the evaluation would be different. That depends on the HR schedule. But yeah, you can apply at any time. As long as it's on the website, then you can just apply.
All right, thank you. Yeah, here's another one. When working, do you really need to memorize every function and every program language required?
No. In fact, you probably, okay, so this is a good one, right? Someone asked, where do you work? I work at Google, right? And then someone asked me back, what about you? What I say? I Google at work.
Okay, I get it. That took me a while. That actually took me a while. All right.
Right. So basically, you don't need to remember every function. You can just Google it. In fact, what's very important for you is actually the to learn the, what do you call it, the fundamental of programming. So whatever language that you're going to use, you will easily understand that, understand the syntax. It's new syntax, you can Google it, but you learn how programming actually work. So I think there's no problem if you cannot really understand every function and syntax.
All right, there's another question.
Udah.
Huh? Oh, do we run out of time?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Went off on a tangent there. Wait. Well, wait. For the rest of the questions, I guess they can be answered at a later time. I guess if you guys want, you can contact Bukit Vista, or you can contact them
here,
through us, I guess.
I just sent a link on the chat. So that's in Coda. I enable anyone can comment on that. So if you have any follow-up question after this session, you can just make a comment there and tag my name. So I will see the notification and probably I will answer that.
All right. Also Bayu, for cooperating with us and stuff. We would also like to give you your very own plaque. Wait, give me a second.
As a token of appreciation, GDSC, we'd like to present Bayu with this flag.
Yeah. Phew. Let me deliver it real quick. Shing. Oh wait, Bayu, is it there?
Yep, it's here. I received it. Nice. Thank you. That's really cool technology. Drag and drop, yeah.
Yep.
Wow, okay. Thank you, Philipus, and everyone that arranged this event. It is a really delightful event.
Power of technology.
Yeah. That would be our photo session, right? Z, are you there?
All right. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay. So before we end this seminar, I would like to invite all of the attendees to please open their camera to take some photos. And I will give you around 1 minute to do so. All right, so Kak Bayu, if you can maybe hold up the plate.
Okay, sure. Oops, it got blurred. Okay, I should hold it like this, yeah.
Okay, so for the first page, 1, 2, 3. All right, and now for the second page. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you, everyone. Back to Phil and Jess.
Yeah, thank you, Z. The winners for the Kahoot will deliver your keychains around. Actually, wait, Jason, do you know when we're gonna deliver the keychains?
They're gonna pick it up by themselves in campus.
Oh yeah. So yeah, whoever won, you can pick up your keychains on campus later on. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up, right, for the event. Is there anything else we're missing?
After filling the attendance form, I guess you guys, and that marks the end of our session. We'd like to thank Bukit Vista and especially Kak Bayu, Kak Biela for spending time with us today. It really was an amazing opportunity to be able to talk with you guys.
My pleasure. Really good to see you guys.
Goodbye. Thank you.
See you, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.